All right. Welcome everyone to the Education Summit EduChat series for today. So come right in, come right in. So we are about to start very slowly, in shortly in a while. So today, for the Education Summit EduChat series, it's all about interviewing and having conversations with top educators around Malaysia and internationally as well. So the EduChat series is basically going to happen every week. But however, for today, it's very interesting because we just had a chat with the speakers that is about to present later on. So the other day we were having a chat, and as we were looking through the entire education summit, right, we glanced through a lot of the feedback, and some of the audiences actually requested and told us that, hey, you talk about a lot of education from primary school, secondary school to tertiary education, but what about the education for early childhood, right? For preschool and early childhood, and hence that is when we actually got chat and we got acquainted together on WhatsApp, and we decided to do, hey, why don't we actually do this EduChat series to speak specifically about the early child education. So the topic for today will be very interesting because a lot of parents are actually asking me as well with regards to this topic, and I'm very excited to be chatting with our next speaker for upcoming. So we'll be talking a lot about the all of the aspect that she is basically an expert, if I may say, on early childhood education, and she has close to about 15 years in the early childhood industries, right? So if you are in right now, so please give us a comment so that we know that you are there. And please, during the entire education summit, EduChat series, if you have any form of questions, right, please do comment down below so that our speaker will be able to address any of your questions. All right, so we're about to start. So let me just briefly introduce to everyone our speaker. So for today, the topic that we will be discussing is the secret of the first 1,000 days of your child's life, right? The secret of the first 1,000 days of your child's life, right? So the speaker that will be speaking to us today, her name is called Michelle Hiong, and I believe that a lot of you have already known her during the Education Summit 2020. And she's basically currently the CEO and founder of Pinktower Child Education Center. All right. So without further ado, I would like to invite Michelle Hiong to come up on the stage and join us for tonight. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Jay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me again.
Hello, Michelle. How are you doing today? Good. So thank you again
Yeah,
for
great.
coming in into the Education Summit platform again. And today you are bringing in a very interesting
Yeah.
topic. The other day you were speaking all about STEM education, and today it's all about the early childhood education. So for those of you that might be, hey, how come Michelle is talking about early child education? So could you briefly run through with us how did you get started in this industry and a little bit more about your organization?
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. So, how am I started this in early childhood is it's really, really my passion and my dream. I believe all of you will have to write, what is your ambition when you're in the primary, right? Yeah. So same as me. I wrote my ambition is actually I want to be a kindergarten owner. Yeah. So that is how passionate I am in the early childhood industry. Of course, this is not just right after SPM, and then we can immediately can chase our dream. So last time I was not that smart, not unlike the generation now. The generation nowadays, they are very smart, they have direction and they have focus. If they have someone who coach them to be there, they are very fast and success. But back to my time, I'm not that kind of person. So I actually right after my SPM, I went for accounting. I went for do auditing and all that. But I really, really dislike, or I would say I hate accounting. Okay, so I don't like that job. Yeah. So what I did was do part-time tuition Yeah, I do part-time tuition. I teach my neighborhood. So after my work, then I do tuition at home, and after some times, my instead of a small group or individual teaching, it's become like a class, like an informal class, that kind of things, because the children likes my teaching, and then I also use a lot of materials, and I also love singing and dancing with them. So I discovered that I have so much of passion in teaching young children. Yeah, so my mom also see me that I really very passionate about it, and I told her that I would like to have my own center. Yeah, so at that time, after a several discussion, and my mom is really very supportive, and she support me financially, and I for that I owe her owe her a very big lump sum of money, and then started my own business, as a childcare center. So I took up the cost, and Montessori course, back in last time I was in Sagi College. So on the 13th of December, I received my diploma in Montessori, and then on the 14th of December, which is the next day, I set up my center, open day center. Yeah, so the next day is rushing for while I busy with the graduation, and the next day I open up my center and start recruiting. So that time, that was 18 years ago actually. So, and then it's now my first batch of students already in the universities, and I receive a lot of great testimonial, and that make me feel that I'm so fulfilling in this industry, because I really did something good to the children, and now they enter to the university and they send back their regards and testimonial by the student themselves, and saying that, oh, Michelle, I'm so great and so fortunate that I spend my childhood time with you, and that's why I can remember so well and prepared my readiness for the primary life and all that. So I really really feel so blessed that they can have a great memory, and they prepared them the basic skills, and that help them to develop learning skills in life for them. Yeah, so that's why I'm so passionate.
Okay. So, Michelle, I've been doing some reading, right, previously before the session for today. It seems that early childhood education is actually something very uh, taken into a very serious manner in a lot of other countries. And I saw that a lot of countries actually allow parents to take like 1 year leave, right, just so that they can have more time with their children, right? So, if to kickstart on the discussion for today, right? So, if we were to break it down onto the different parts of early childhood education, how would you structure the overall framework for the entire we should know for the early childhood education? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I must say we have a different economy status in Malaysia and other countries. Now, in those advanced countries, they talk a lot about the human welfare and all that. So they can give a lot of benefits, like giving 1 year unpaid leave for your maternity, and then and also of that. But however, in come back to Malaysia, we do not afford to have that. Okay, and we are so competitive, and if you have 1 year unpaid leave, I think you can actually on the other way, you can actually resign from your job, and somebody will already taken your position. Yeah, so that is a part. But however, saying that early childhood, especially the first 3 years of life, it's very very crucial. Now, reason why I say this is because there are so many research have already stated, and with the MRI kind of scanning and all that, they have shown clearly that the neurons and then the pathway are all actually very rapidly developed. Okay, rapidly developed within the first 3 years. Okay, now in overall, our brain is actually continuously developed. However, within the first 3 years, the 50% of the brain is already developed. Okay, and up to 6 years old, there are already 80%. Okay, so can you imagine while your brain is still, still fresh, still new, so you need to have a lot of stimulations. You need to have a lot of learning, okay, to stimulate all these brain functions. Yeah, so that is why we are very careful, okay, to structure the children, okay, within the first 3 years, or even first, I mean, cover up to 6 to 8 years of time. Yeah, so whatever that you want to cultivate, it's better to cultivate during this period of time. And that is why I say, in the first 1,000 days, between the first 3 years of life, is very, very critical. And whereby these, a lot of parents, a lot of adults, they overlook and they neglect on this part. And they just thought that, oh, this is the baby time, baby got nothing much to do and learn. They would just let things feed them well, let them sleep well, which is, this is not like that. Yeah, this is totally not like that. Yeah.
Okay. So in a way, I saw in one of the article, if I may summarize it in a way, right? It's almost like the brain, the neuron cells during that first 3 years is almost like building the main branches, right? If you imagine a tree, it's like building the main branches. So the remaining 70% or 80% of the brain development, it's all that little twigs that stems out from the branch, right? So during that first 3 years, all the main branches are built as a foundation for us to grow, so that they may be able to succeed better in future, right? So in this
Yes.
aspect, right? Let's zoom in on the brain development side of things. What during the first 1,000 days or the first 3 years of the child's life, right? What are the key aspects as a parents that they should really look onto to really pay attention so that they don't neglect these three main focusing point on the child's development?
Okay, that is a very good question. So you really did a lot of homework. Okay, I would focus on three main things. Okay, number one, all right, the basic needs, whereby beside feeding, beside letting the child having enough rest, okay, we should have focus on like the physical development, linguistic development, and then this sense of secureness, okay, bonding. Yeah, so we have to always observe the children development. Okay, how these what are the development they are achieved, and then we want to scaffold them. Okay, that's not one. And then secondly is responsiveness. Yeah, we need to be responsive but not over responsive. Yeah, so this is a thin line. Yeah, we want to be responsive but do not over it. Oh yeah. So what it mean by responsive? Like for example, like your children start to giving us some cues. Okay. So for example, like they're making some noise. Oh, So then we have to understand and see check on them. Okay. What are the needs that the babies are giving us this cue? Yeah. And then when they're having like cry. Okay. So what type of cries are there? And then you have to recognize, okay, they're crying, whether they want to change diaper, or whether they they are um, they are hungry, or whether the temperature is too cold or too warm, or whether they are seeking for attention. So all this you need to examine them nicely and then respond to them correctly to meet their needs. Okay. And number three is giving them a lot of assurance. Tell them that you love them, and you have to tell them every day. I will always urge my customers or my clients that they come to our center. We always share to them, don't keep your love. They don't know, okay? So you have to voice it out. We have to be like Western people. We have to tell the children that, oh, I love you. Oh, that's well done. What have you done? Even they are not responding to you, even though they cannot talk to you, but they receive it. They see your emotions. They see your expression. I say they see your facial expressions, and they listen to your vocal, and then they learn from there. Okay, and the more you say I love you, the more they feel assured that they are the one who been loved. Yeah. So back to Asian, a lot of it that having Asian parenting skills. A lot of parents, they feel like, oh, cannot, we cannot always praise them. Later we will spoil them. No, it is not like that. Okay, we have to praise them, and we have to tell them what they have done it right, and what make you feel proud of them. Okay, and we and the number three thing is we have to always read to them. Okay, reading is the most important thing. All right, don't think that you they are so young. I do not want to be them to read so young. I mean, they have to read the rest of their life, but why I want to let them read now? I tell you, you will be going to be regret. Okay, if you have this kind of mentality, you have to change. Really have to change, because reading is so important nowadays, especially with the digital world. It is so hard to develop the attention span. It is so hard to build their reading habit nowadays. So if you want your children to succeed in life, you have to develop the reading habit before 3 years old. Before 3 years old, you have to let them to love in reading, okay? And then have the reading habit every day. Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the three simple things.
All right. So I guess let's zoom in into reading first, right? So we talk about ABC 1, 2, 3, right? What form of reading are okay? Two
Huh?
questions over here. So let's say if I play educational video, ask them to watch on TV versus giving them a book, reading together with them. So right now we're talking about kids which are 1, 2 years old or 3 years old, right? So what form of a reading do you recommend or do you do on a daily basis with your children?
Okay. My experience and also my the activities in my center, we are doing the same thing. We read to the children, even baby, daily, and not only once a day, but we have regular readings. Okay, let me share my personal experience. Okay, my daughter now is 9 years old. Okay, as you all know, everybody gone through the MCO period, and a lot of children actually gadget addicted, right? Yeah. The same thing goes to my daughter. Yeah, because there's so much of screen time that you have to go on online classes, and then the online classes also you have to do some research and all that. It's all online, so it's become like reading, like I mean, uh, uh, screen addicted. However, because I have to develop her very well, and in the early years, so she has been a bookworm. Okay, she read books every day, and she read books can go up to 2-3 hours a day per day. Yeah, so in even in one session, she can non-stop reading half an hour to 1 hour at least. Yeah, and she read those, right, thick book. Yeah, 9 years old reading this size of book. Within 2 or 3 days she can finish one whole book. So that means she has a very strong foundation of reading. So same thing when during the MCO period, we had she has addicted to the screen time. However, I very easy to switch back her reading through the reading habit. I talk to her. I discuss with her. Okay, so it seems something wrong, and it seems something not that right when you are all the time on the screen. It's not really healthy for your eyes and all that. Then I show her some articles about how screen time will damage her eyes and her health and all that. And then I also explain to her, last time you're reading, you can read like this and all that, this much of volume that you read and all. Then after that, she immediately switched. Yeah, she immediately switch back to the reading habit. Yeah, so now within a day, she probably have about half an hour maximum for a screen time session. Maybe have two to three sessions a day. Yeah, so that is very reasonable screen time usage. So you see, I used reading to take her off from the screen easily. So that is a the things that I have really solidly developed and instilled this habit back to when she was baby time. Yeah, I share with you one more story when she was baby, that time about 4 or 5 months. I brought her to visit one of my classmates. Yeah, so when we go together, that time a lot of babies together. Then my daughter, she doesn't really explore around because maybe it's a new environment, and then and she seems like a bit worried or a bit scared. So I cuddling her. I put her on my lap, and then after that, while I chit chatting, I take out the books and for my daughter to read. Yeah, then my friend was so shocked. He said, "You, why you so cruel? Let your children read so young." And then she told she told me, how can she read? She also cannot read. What? She's just playing only. I said it's okay. Just let her expose the books, let her touch the texture, and the books having sounds, making noise, and then having different texture. She learned all this through the senses and exploration. And then when she doesn't know, I read to her, so she learned the vocabularies. So when she was about 1 year old and two, she started to recall all the books that I read. Yeah, the time when she was first started to speak, she's not speaking like one single word, one single word. She spoke the whole sentence. Yeah, and then after that, she started to really read. Okay, we call it not emergent reading. It's really reading child. Okay, so he started to read at age 3 years old. Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
that
so in a
helped
way,
her to,
hello.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
So in
helped
a
her
way,
to actually build a lot. Mm,
okay. So in a way, if I were
yes.
to break it down, right? So it's just a parent
Mm.
sitting together with the kid and bringing in probably a kid's book and just repetitively every day reading to them different vocabulary, different words. It could be very hard, let's say Harry Potter book, but you can still read to them. Is it?
Yep, but I will encourage follow the children's age and her interest. Even when she's baby, she can show you that whether she interested in this book. Okay. Now,
Okay.
for those like newborn, okay, you buy you select the books which is not too colorful, which is black and white, will be more appropriate for them. Yeah, and then after some a few months later, when their vision is getting better and more matured, then you can read them more other colors books, and then object books, or even picture books. I would strongly recommend picture books actually.
I see. Okay. So in a way, if you have observed many parents guiding their children in reading storybooks, right? What are the things that you feel that okay, this is a no-no? If you are a parent, right, you shouldn't do this. If you were to, if you were to teach them vocabulary or in terms of telling them stories, what have you observed from that?
Okay, I observe a lot of parents. They are very mind of oh, she couldn't read. I read so many books to her already. She still couldn't read. Yeah, especially when the child grows older, especially when the child start be more vocal. The parents expect the children to read, recall, or read. After a few times, the parents read to the child. Okay, now reading is a long process. It needs time to develop. So we don't expect that the children, after you read 1 or 2 times, then she can read back to you. Okay, so the intentions are not asking them to read. Okay, the intention is to build the reading interest, build the reading habit. Okay, so don't give up. A lot of parents say, I try already, but how many times you tried? Are you persistently okay? And then you don't expect the children like all the time have to look at the book. Their concentration is very short. They're just like the goldfish, and then they see, then their vision will move around, observing surrounding, especially when somebody pass by, or some other sounds around, then they'll get distracted. But if you continuously reading, they will still come back to you. Okay, so that is one. And then another one is, if the baby really feel that they are tired, they do not want, that maybe they crawl away. Okay, let them be. Yeah, so let them crawl away, then you can just stop the book. Yeah, so that's two. The number three is, don't follow page by page if your child don't want to. Right? A lot of, especially during toddler time, when the children are started to walk around, so they will move away, and then after that they will come back. Okay, so if you are not starting at the very beginning, this will always happen. Okay, but if you are starting at a very young age, that means during the baby time, they're seldom. Very seldom. You will amaze. Okay, my children, a group of babies, in the classroom, that when the teachers take the book and they say, "Okay, story time," you know what the babies respond? They are midway playing the toys. They will put back their toys and then crawl to the place where the teachers always be there and read to the and then do the storytelling session. They're all sitting down nicely, nobody moving around. Even that time they were just starting crawling here and there, walking around. They already set the routine and they already be used for it. So therefore, the baby themselves, then they're sitting down there quietly and paying so much of attention, and teachers not just reading one book, teachers sometimes read few books. And we have babies, they sometimes even ask for more. How they ask, even though they cannot say, they will shout, or they will say, ah, 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 ah. They will give all this body language for the signal to the teachers that, oh, I want some more, I want some more. Yeah, so actually the children really enjoy if you choose the right books, if you use the right tactics, and if you persistently doing it. Yeah, so these are the
Okay.
three things I would like to
So
emphasize.
this, I'm curious, right? The babies that you were just describing, how old are they? That they will sit down quietly and listen to the story? Are they 1, 2 years old?
Mostly 8 months. Oh, no.
Okay.
Baby's time. Baby below 12 years. Below 12 months old.
Okay. 12 years
As
old
long
and they
as
are able to sit
they
down
can
there.
sit.
Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay, let me run through a scenario, let's say in home, right? So, little Bobby, maybe 1.5 years old, right? So, the mommy asks little Bobby, hey, come over here. I'll read you a storybook. Read halfway, maybe 2, 3 pages, and then little Bobby, not interested, then they walk away. So, then the mommy brings little Bobby back in front of the storybook, read the storybook for them, and then again they walk back. So, um, I see that this happens usually. So what can a mother do? Then just allow them to walk away, and then allow them to come back, or so how do they go through? So is this like a continuous cycle again and again and again with little Bobby? So could you run us through the scenario? I'm just trying to picture how it works.
Yeah. Okay, that is a very common situation where a lot of parents that face. Now I give you a tips. Okay. Now when you reading to your children, to your baby or your toddler, position them. Okay. What do you mean by position them is like, it's best is you put the baby right in front of you and then sitting on your lap, so you both share the books together. Okay, so that is let's say for example, like this is the book, and your book position should be like this. Can you see? So your baby in front of you and reading together with you. Okay, now what is the benefit of this? One, you restrict their movement. Okay, so they won't be crawling around. Yeah. Then secondly, you see what they see, right? And then they also hear your heartbeat, especially when they're newborn. They want to listen to your heartbeat, because all this while they are in your womb, right? Now, doesn't mean daddy cannot do. Daddy also can do the same thing. Okay? So you carry cuddle and then put them on your lap, and then when they signal, they're interested on this, you quickly read. Okay, what is that picture? Yeah, and then what is all this about? Yeah. And if let's say they are a very, very early age, you actually can read, just follow the text. Let them familiarize that, oh, okay, so this is the thing. Yeah. And if possible, you can do some action. Yeah. So some comes to some pages, you will see like, oh, choo 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 choo, like that. So that giving them a signal. Yeah. So as they get older, when before you come to this page, they already start do the action. That means they remember. They remember this. Oh, the next page is going to come is this choo choo, like that. Yeah. So that is how they build up their memory, and all that. Yeah. So that's why put them on your lap. Okay. Read together with them. Yeah. That will help you to reduce that kind of distraction or they're running around. Yeah. And I will also put a little bit of like how's it habit that let them know that if you walk away, then I will keep the book. Yeah. So it's just like feeding. A lot of it just distract a little bit because this is actually very similar. Yeah. So it's just like when you wanted to feed the baby, okay, a lot of adults they will go and follow them through all around the dining room, and even go to the playground and all that and feed them. Actually, no, they have the needs of hungry, so they will look for food. You don't have to chase them and feed them like that. So same thing comes to reading. You don't have to chase them to, okay, come read, come open the book, reading is good. You don't have to. Okay, so let them know that this is the place, this is the area, this is where I place my books. Okay, if you want to read, you only come here to read. You don't go elsewhere. Okay, don't put it in the place. Yeah. But this doesn't mean that in other area you don't read. No. Okay. Now I would set a place like by a reading corner for my daughter at home. In the school also we have a reading corner. But however, in the bath area, we also put some books there, which is those are wet book. Yeah, so that then during the bath time also they read. And then in my car, when I drive or when my husband drive, I will sit together with my daughter at the back, and then I read to her. So you see, let them know that reading happen anytime, anywhere. Yeah, and that is why my daughter now she go anywhere also she read. She go to the sometimes she go to the kitchen, or sometimes she's in dining room, or sometimes she's in the car also she read books. Yeah, so that's the habit you develop. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
let them sit at a place, set the routine. Mm.
Right. So any place, anywhere, and most importantly, to have a routine. Probably during the same
Yes.
time, same place, same location. Then that would probably develop the habit in that manner. Okay. So
Yes.
okay, a few questions
Road.
that I see from the audiences over here. So first one from Aziz Rajab. Hello. What are the
Mm-hmm.
current trends that are contributing to the changing early childhood education landscape, and what is affecting the profession? So, any comments on that in terms of how Malaysia, if we let's zoom in on Malaysia, how's the
Mm-hmm.
entire early childhood education landscape, and what are the development and what's affecting the profession?
Okay, that is a very good question. I would say the changing of early childhood landscapes is getting better and better and more professional. Last time when I was first started, I remember anyone can be childcare owner, anyone can be, can just open up the center, even though they are not the education background, even though they do not have any experience. Yeah, so anyone can just be, as long as you have money, you can play the game. Yeah, but right now it's different. It's really different. We have the uh, JKM or MOE to certify us. Okay, what are the minimum requirement, and then towards professionalism. Yeah, and not only that, they even though they gave us the license, they always come in and do the inspection and all that. So I would say the education, I mean early childhood education is getting more and more professional. Yeah, and if you want to do and do it well, you really have to know your thing well. Okay, you have to understand. Okay, got the knowledge and also the practice. Don't just study and study and study, but without any practice. Because I found that I myself doing master in education and my degree in this early childhood education. After so many years, I still knew new things, and not only that, not only the knowledge wise, however, the practice. Yeah, so after the knowledge, you still need to put it into practice. We can't just tell people about the theory, how best is the theory, but in practical, in real life, how is it work? Okay, and within the context, how are you going to contextualize that? What are the knowledge or the theories generated by other countries? Are they applicable in Malaysia? So what all these things we need to justify, and we need to do adjustment. So in overall, I would say our industry is getting towards professionalism. Yeah.
So more, which is a good thing. So more and more knowledge and more skills are being learned and being improved day by day, right? So
Yes.
Aziz Rajab, thank you for that question. So next, one more question over here before we move on to the next topic. Marian Eunice, how old should we start to read
How
to the babies?
is that? I would say as early as possible. I myself, I read when I'm pregnancy, during my pregnancy,
Mm,
because when the time when I pregnant, I teach. Yeah, I teach a group of 6 years old children. So every day, as I mentioned, I read a lot to the students. So at the same time, I read. Yeah, and then um, when the first week I can't brought her back because she has jaundice. So I came back, and the first day when I received her home, I read to her. Yeah. So I would say as early as possible.
okay,
Yeah.
so Marian, there you go, as early as possible. Just to add on
Yes.
that as well, right, Michelle. So per day, right?
Yes.
If you have all the time in the world, right? How long of a time spent? So how long do you read to your baby in a way?
Oh, I will not measure the quantity, but I will measure the quality. Yeah, the quality that I wanted is number one. Okay, am I enjoy? Yeah, you have to ask yourself, do you enjoy reading to your babies? Yeah, and you have to love this. Yeah, because um, imagine in future this is the best gift that you can leave it to her, not any valuable things, because reading, having a solid reading, it is actually giving her the best treasures in the world. Yeah, the best gift in the world. So you have to, and yourself must uh, enjoy this process, and not just yourself but your spouse. Okay, whether I always want, I always encourage. Okay, don't think that this is only a woman job or this is only a father job. No. Okay, and all the taking care of the babies, except you direct feeding, is only the mother job. Otherwise, okay, you bottle feeding, pass it to the father as well. Both actually can come together to share the responsibility and share the moment, the lovely moment that she has never had and will not go back when she grown up. Okay, so yeah, this is the quality. Okay, that you enjoyed it, and then um, the frequency, like say for example, at any time when I'm being together, I will try to squeeze the time to read to her maybe 5 minutes a day. Okay, and one thing is I always urge is bedtime story. If you have all the time are busy, you're working and busy this and that, at least once a day. Okay, at least. Don't have to be long. Maybe just take 5 to 10 minutes every day, before you go to bed. Yeah. So bedtime story is a must.
All right. So a few questions over here by some of the audiences over here. Tan Shin, any sample books that you could recommend to parents with young children below age 3 years old? And from Dahlia, what is the best children book do you recommend to the babies? Yeah. Any favorite top of the list? Three
Mm.
books. Mm.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I would suggest if there's those babies, Look. So these are some of the books. This is a cloth books, okay, with the colors, and then they have different texture. If you can see closely, it's actually have different texture, and you can hear the sound. So this will help the babies to stimulate their muscles to squeeze it and then to work on it. So this is I would recommend this to the below 1 year old. And this is a fantastic thing because there's a hanger. You can actually hang it on the crib, or you hang it on the on the baby stroller. So even you shopping or whatever, you always let the baby to see the book and all that. Okay. And the other one I would recommend is something like this is for babies to bath. Okay, so when you bath, you can also read the content. Okay, you read the content, or you tell them the name to them, what is it all about. All right. And as the babies grow older, you can also select some of the books like okay, so these are the books now. It actually can, you know, it's a puzzle. Yeah, so you can actually fix this, and besides, you also can use it for role play. Yeah, so these are the books. It's very hands on, and it can be used for multi functions. Yeah, so as a smart consumer, we can actually measure how many ways that we can use this. So you can also let them to take out the piece and then to fix it back. The puzzle is a good tool to stimulate their brain. All right. Then when it comes to the older children, you also can do picture books like this. All right. These are the books. Can you see? A very big pictures, but very little words. Okay. Now parents don't be greedy. Think of, oh, when I want to buy books, I want to full of words. I tell you, a baby won't have this patience. Okay, because they don't understand. Yeah. So what you can do is you choose those books which is a very colorful, and then you can choose the books that have very little words so that you can go pretty quickly, and then let them enjoy the art. Yeah. This is all the famous author, famous famous painter, and having great illustration. So these are the books that I would strongly recommend. Now, one of my favorite author is Eric Carr. If many of you will, if those who have heard before, the Very Hungry Caterpillar, Brown Bear, what do you see? Yeah, he has a whole series of these things whereby you can pursue it. I'm crazy. I bought not just one book. The same book, I will have different version. I will have different version in because that keep my daughter interest. And sometimes too big book I cannot bring so many. So when I go out and bring my daughter around, I will bring three bags. Okay, one is the basic necessary, the milk or whatever. Then second is the toys. Third bag is full of books. So all this I will bring. Yeah. So Erica is one of the I strongly recommend, because this one is not just my daughter alone, but all the babies in my childcare center also, they love it. So I would say this is tested. This is
Okay.
tested.
Right.
Mm.
So in a way, if the book has a lot of visual and then probably some texture that allows them to touch and play around with it, that's probably something ideal, right, for children. Could you
Yes.
say, like,
Yes.
we spoke to Dr. Mano during the education summit, right, to incorporate more of the five senses in terms of the sight, visual, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. Will this be very important in terms of teaching them as well? Can we apply this for early
Yes.
childhood education?
Yes. Actually, this is extremely important. Yeah. The children learn about the world through the five senses. Yeah, so that's why whenever we plan, we try to let them try to incorporate as much senses as possible. Yeah, say for example, you want to teach them the color, you can use real vegetables, okay, or fruit to teach them the colors. So you let them touch the texture. Yeah, that is the this is the rough surface, and this is the broccoli. The broccoli is hard. This is green color. So you can describe the broccoli. You can let them to feel and touch the broccoli. This is what the teachers, I mean our caregivers will always do. Design the curriculum, try to involve their senses as much as possible. And besides, we also bring like songs, movement, yeah, for them to move around. Yeah, sometimes teacher will put it in the cards game for them to go and fetch the vegetables, or fetch the colors and all that. So that will involve a lot of physical movement, because physical movement is the first part that develop the part of the brain. So the more they exercise, the more they coordinated, the better they are. Yeah.
All right. So hopefully that answers some of the questions of, wow, the questions are piling in. So we've answered from there. So okay, this is a very important question as well. So we talk about physical books, right? So what about e-reading? So probably reading from an iPad or phone, right? So do you encourage that? And if so, yeah, no, nothing at all. So
No,
could you describe more about this
no.
on e-reading using devices like this?
We don't encourage the children to e-reading is mainly because we do not want them to addicted to the screen. Yeah, and a lot of researchers actually have shown that compared to e-book and physical books, the children still will the physical book is actually more benefiting to the children because they can touch the texture, and some of the books they even have the smell. Like I have came across a book. They have the accents. You see, so when you talk about chocolate, they have chocolate smells. Then talk about orange or lemon. They come out all these accents in the book. So you see that by reading a book, you can have all these senses, but when you touch a screen, everything are flat, isn't it? Yeah. So I will still encourage to have the physical book rather than the ebook. Yeah. But of course, ebook also they have the benefit, but I will still say limit the time. And the the best part is actually not the book. The best part is the human interaction, how your voice read to them, the body temperature, the facial expression to the children, not the ebook, because the ebook cannot give the children response. It's a one-way communication, and that will have a lot of social issues when they're grown up. They do not know how to interact with the people. But when the physical book, the adult need to be there and read to them, so that the adult actually having all sorts of the facial expression, and the children learn it. The children able to identify what is this uh, facial expression all about, and they started to think, okay, and relate it. What is this meaning to them? So the interaction need to be there, not the content. It is not, um, how much is the content. The content is the second priority, I would say. The most important is the sense of secureness, the way we read to the children, that kind of vocal tonality. They need to see our mouth movements for them to capture and to pick up their mouth movement for them to learn and to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess in a way also to observe if whether if they're enjoying, whether if they're happy during the entire session is very important as well. Okay, so
Yes.
shortly in a while we will talk about all about technology and its effect on the children's brain, especially for 3 years old and below, right? So we talk about AR, VR, we talk about YouTube, right? So all of these different education devices, we will speak more on that on technology side, right? So Michelle, so we have spoken all about the linguistic side, right? Because from what I see over here, also when you mentioned earlier, it's not just about ABC and 1, 2, 3, right? It's
Yes.
more about having their secureness, their critical thinking ability. Are they able to respond to you in that manner, right? So could you tell us more about the other aspects as a parent, right? What we should really look into when we are taking care of a 3-year-old kid?
3 years and below. Okay, I think I will strongly recommend parents to and learn or look up for information or take online courses or whatever to study about the children's stages of development. A lot of parents they're having maybe under expectation or over expectation on the children, whereby they expect the children to perform to this level whereby it is not at their age. However, sometimes they overlook of this the overlook of some of the area of development and then they've forgotten about it. So that's why they underdevelop in certain sense. Okay, let me give you an example. For example, feeding. Yeah, so children actually above when they started to grip things, they can started to have their solid. For example, 6 months, full 6 months, they start to have their solid. So when they start to have the solid, actually what you can do is provide them a spoon, okay, together, and then you feed at the same time, let them explore and let them trying to feed themselves. Okay, so this is something very crucial because they're having all these fingers development, muscle gripping, and then hand-eye coordination. So all these are helping them to stimulate their brain function. So the more exercise they do, the more they're aware of where is their mouth position, where is their nose, and where is their face, and all that. So the more they do, the more they recognize themselves, and then this help them to know and develop the senses. And on top of that, the moment you scoop, then we don't expect them to, oh, they must scoop straight fit to their mouth. No, because they still do not know where is their body part, you see. So they are still exploring. So sometimes they scoop to the ears, sometimes they scoop to the nose or scoop to the hair or everywhere. It is all right, okay? It's just taking some time for us to clean up the place. But most important is the learning are there. So when you allow them to have this opportunity, they will master the skills. It takes some time for them to master the skills. That's one. Then number two, they have the confidence because when the moment you give them, after some time they become better and better. So as they see they after they can complete the task by themselves, they have the fulfillment, which we don't understand, but they have that kind of fulfillment. And if you're observant enough, you will see their smile. You can see they show you that, oh, I accomplished this by myself. You see, so all this is actually helping them to develop their self-confidence and also their efficacy and self-esteem. It is so important. So that's why I say, if you are if the adult aware of the stages of development, this will help them a lot on their or to help them to develop the babies. But if they don't, always seek for advice or go to the childcare center and ask. And because I'm not sure about other center, but my center every month, especially during the first year, every month we will update the parents by, okay, this is the area that they have developed. Okay, so these are the achievements they have done, and then we will do some video record on capture the picture that what the child already able to achieve, and then we compile and then send the parents about for the report monthly. So the first, especially the first year, you can see their development every month. They develop so much and so significant. So therefore, I suggest you go and talk to the caregiver, go and talk to the childcare provider, and ask them about the knowledge, because it is a must to understand, and it is a must to know all these stages in order to take care of the babies, yeah, and the toddler. Mm.
Okay, so Michelle, if I use an analogy, right? Let's say if I'm a badminton player, right? So you speak about the different aspect that they will monitor the children. Let's say if I'm a badminton player, then I'll focus on improving my stamina. Then probably I improve on my serving, my smash, then my backstroke and things like that, right? So for a child, right? How do you really observe, or what kind of key aspects do you really monitor for children in your childcare center?
Oh, that is a good question. All right. Now, I was, as you say, you are very it is not easy to actually measure, but on the other hand, it is easy to measure their development since young, because for the first 3 years, their development is so huge. Take for example, like physical, okay? From day one, they are unable to flip themselves, and then after the few months, they started to flip, and they start maybe for the first few weeks, okay, they start to lift up their neck, yeah, and that all these actually can be measured. So how high, maybe 45 degree or 60 degree, so all this is actually observable, especially on the what is that called, on the physical part. Now talking about emotional, yeah, if the baby, when you smile to the baby and the baby smile back to you, this is response. Yeah. So that they see this, they receive the signal and then they respond it to you. That is considered all right. You see, if after some times when you call the baby, how about few months later, then you call the baby and the baby still do not respond to you, or maybe you give some sound instrument or something making sounds, and the baby do not track the sound, that is some signal that you need to go and consult doctor. Yeah. And also the pictures. So if you are trying to, let's say, trace the baby, the baby hits, let's say now it's like this, you don't put in front, you put at the side, so you will see the baby will track the image, and then you try to move the other side, and then the baby will go to that. If a few times, and if you did this consistently, and after a few weeks or so that the baby do not respond to you, then you got to also alert and seek for doctor advice.
So we talk about physical, and then we talk about the linguistic side of things, and then we talk about the responsiveness. So are there any other aspect that is like very important, so as a parent, that they should really pay attention to while the child is developing?
Independent level. I would urge parents, don't do everything for your child. Observe your child, what is their capability, and when they're able to do up to this extent, you have to let go and let them complete the task and then move on a little bit. If your child are unable to do, you do the rest of the parts, okay? Or you start the, this is called changing lah. So you break the task into, let's say, 10 steps, okay? You observe the child. If the child take initiative at the beginning, you hands off, let the child to start at the beginning, and then after that, once they stop, maybe until step 3 they stop, then you continue on from step 3 to 10, complete the task, okay? Or the other way, you start from step 1 up to step 7 or 9, then let the child complete the step number 10 in order for them to complete the task. Okay, so there are two ways. Yeah. So that independent level is you have to hands off and empower the baby, you empower the children. Even baby also, when they are able to grab the object, okay, and having better coordination, let them to hold their bottles instead of you always holding full force for them. Okay, so let them to hold the bottle. Then they're trying to control their muscles. They're trying to coordinate and they're trying to balance it. So that is how you help them to develop. That's why independence level is very important. The more the bigger they grown, you have to be they have to be more independent. And very important is the parent support. We support them, trust them, okay? Even the things are not nice, they're not arranged perfectly, don't go and adjust for them, okay? Don't go and adjust for them. And pay, respect them. Yeah, I would say even baby, you have to respect them. You have to talk to them, tell them what you're going to do. Are they all right? In order. So you have to get used to it. It's not to say that, oh, baby also I need to respect. Yes, this is a habit for the adults, okay? It's not for the baby, but it's for us to train us. We need this habit to listen, to ask permission, okay? So when I change my baby, I told them, okay, mommy going to change for you, all right? Okay, so are you ready? Come, let's start. Yeah, I know my baby won't tell me that, no, I'm not all right. So my baby won't tell me that. But it's make me as a habit. And until now, even the little things, I still will ask her opinion. I say, is that all right that we go to this restaurant, or So this is the habit is already built for the first few years. Okay, it's built my habit. Okay, to respect the children, to build a good habit and good practices, and also that also help the baby to understand that I will ask, and please, next time you also should ask me, you also should respect me, you see. So I wanted to have this kind of a value in my family and in my school as well.
Right. So, okay, Michelle. So, one thing about early childhood education, right, for parents is that we can't really see the immediate result, right? So, the result is often maybe 6 years down the road, 10 years down the road, or 20 years down the road when they're adult, right? So, we are talking about probably successful people. Let's say, for example, if we're talking about Albert Einstein, people like probably like a Michael Jordan and things like that, right? So, are there any correlations, right? Like during the first 3 years of their life, right? Is it directly affecting how they are as a person when they eventually grow up, or is there a leeway whereby okay, after 3 years old, it's depending on how they are being trained, or is the 3 year time gap that we were mentioning right now, right? It's like crucial for their development, for their success in future. Yeah, could you elaborate a bit on that, on the correlation during the first 3 years, all the way until their adulthood? How would it affect their success level in terms of that?
Well, unfortunately, there is no scientific proven that for first 3 years, then these people will be more successful than others. However, there are also some correlations. Say, for example, like they're having the babies like feel being loved, when young. So all this will help them to and be independent, and a lot of criteria actually, like creativity and all that. So when they're in the early years, okay, they're having all this opportunity that will help them, to success in life in the future. Yeah. So and we can always see like those top CEO in the world, they always have reading habit. Yeah, they always have reading habit. Even our Don M, Dr. Mahathir, he even though until this age he read every day, right? Yeah, Ronald Buffett, um, uh, and Jack Ma, or whoever, they always encourage reading, reading, reading. So I believe that this reading is really helps them to succeed in life. Yeah. And to my personal experience, I have a daughter of 9 years old. I never sent her to any academic tuition. Yeah, never. And until the 9 years old, I never sent. And I'm also a very lazy mom. I mean, I'm very busy mom, lah, I would say. So I don't have time to teach her or guide her academic work. So what she learned in the school is all by herself and independently. Um, her result is extremely well, and her school, because she's not studying in an international school, her school is not just having assessment based on the comparison with her class or within the school, but however they make the comparison within the UK, the whole population of that age group. Okay, so that kind of variant. So she is the top scholar of the 5 percenter. Yeah, but
Wow,
all this is her
congratulations.
own effort. Yeah, yeah, all this is her own effort, and I really do not have time for her to do revision. So her school life is very easy. So whatever she study finish in her school, there's no homework, and then she finish all her work in the school, and then come back, she enjoy her life. She enjoy her life. So when after my work, I brought her home also. I didn't do any academic study. She, because she already a fluent reader, she chose her own books to read, and then but I spend time listen to her, talk to her, and then play with her sometimes when she asks. Yeah, so I will, whenever she asks me for help, I will be always there for her. Yeah, so I think it's um the the relation is not just reading, but also the relationship. I would say the relationship need to be there, and the parents, yeah, your spouse relationship as well. Yeah, so to make her feel like, oh, I am in the family that is full of love. Yeah, so this is a very very crucial to an individual, to a child, no matter what age, no matter what age. Yeah, so I always told my daughter how love, how much love, even every night before she sleep, I always grade her. I say, oh, I love you, or we have a chat. Yeah, so all this we will have, and not just I do it myself. Don't misunderstand. This is the effort of both spouse. Okay, you must have both together and reassure her and make her that this is a full of love of family that always support her. Yeah, so that is why she is a very cheerful, happy, and intelligent child. Yeah. Hi, you
Okay.
want to?
Yeah. There
Okay.
she is, right? Okay, I guess you know that that's a cue to appear. So maybe we can introduce her, maybe interview her a bit. Okay, how was your first 3 years of your childhood together with mommy? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. So a few questions from the audiences over here. So from okay, again from Aziz Rajab. So what are the challenges that you face working in childhood care and education? I guess uh, working with like many kids, right? Especially younger kids. So you're bound to face with a lot of like tantrums. What if they don't behave? What if they get emotional and things like that? So could you share with us some of your key challenges while you're working with children as young as 3 years old and below?
Yeah. Actually, in the early childhood education, I would say the biggest challenges is not the children. The biggest, I always believe education is the school, okay, the teacher, and the parents. That the environment, all this is like a triangle to support the children. So the biggest challenge to me is, I would say not just me, but I think a lot of operators that will also agree with me that the biggest challenge in early childhood is actually managing parents. And I would urge over here, if you are the parents, please, 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 I mean, the educators, it's not God. We will make mistakes. Okay, even though we know a lot, we practice a lot, day to day we do a lot of things with your children. We really try our best to serve your baby, to serve your children as best as possible. Okay, but no matter what, we are human, we do some mistakes. So I would urge the parents when encounter that, oh, why this happened. Okay, don't lose your emotion, don't lose your mind, and just shout in front of the children, shout to the teachers. Yeah, so they are human as well. Okay, so be respect and show a good example that how you actually encounter the problem and how you actually work together, uh, work together and negotiate, or discuss, okay, the issue with the schools. Okay, if you really unable to solve the problem with the teachers directly, go to the management and talk to the school instead of the teachers themselves. All right, so because everybody are human, right? So I would say the biggest challenge is actually handling to parents who are not trusted, our service who are not trusted. I mean, having, even though we are very transparent, all the classes are transparent. You can actually even at the gate also you can see what we are doing. Okay, so there still have parents that are not they didn't trust people. I understand, because this is the most precious one for them. So it is very difficult for people to hand over the most precious things in life to us, and we are very blessed that we have this opportunity. So but any day, anyway, any day, there's any issue or any problem, please come to us directly. We will try our best, okay, to listen to you, to solve your problems and issues. But do not go in front of the child and say, oh, why these teachers do like that, what are the school doing, all that. Because when you doubt, your baby or your children will doubt on the teachers and on the school. So that gives her a very confusing scenario, because she need to trust people. If so young she didn't trust anybody, who are she going to trust in future? In future, you need the trust relationship to, you need the trust, you need to build up the trust in order to have the positive relationship. So and the collaboration need to be there. So if you do not have this trust when they are young, then how are they going to develop all this trust to others, right? So then they will be very suffer in the future. So I would say, actually, the response that you respond to react towards the situation, it's how your children will going to react in the future to solve when they encounter the problem. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say, looking for cooperation with the schools. Parents, please seek cooperation with the schools. If you
Mm.
really find that the school really do the things that cannot align with your values, fine, switch another school. Okay, I would suggest you in this way, rather than every day you go and complain and every day you send and every day the school not making improvement. Then what's wrong, you see? Yeah, so it must well you just switch the school. Yeah, otherwise you listen to the person in charge, listen to the principal, listen to the teachers, see what is their reason behind, because maybe the moment you see this it's not like that. Yeah, so that is the biggest challenges. And another thing is the baby, sometimes the parents always think, oh, my children won't tell lie. I tell you, your children tell lies since baby. Your children tell lie since baby. Mark my words. Because you can see the children tell lies because of the reaction. The children tell lies. It's not really they wanted to tell lies, but they were trying to, problem solve to, and they know that they were going to in the trouble, or they worried. That's why they do not tell you directly what is going to happen. But some children are very innocent or whatever. Their intention is not harmful, but they're just trying to avoid themselves into the trouble. Okay, so as a parents, you don't think of whatever children tell you that is the truth. That don't don't do that. Okay, and on the other hand, if you think that is true, all right, you don't overreacted. Why you think, what, you have to be honest, all that. So yeah, I know one of the belief that we want to hold the honesty, but don't overreact on it. Honesty need to build. Okay, we are not born with honesty, we are not born with any value, but we need to develop this value. So therefore you have to listen. They have to listen to everyone to clarify, to find out what is the real actual situation before you really respond to it. Okay.
Right. Okay. So, okay, a lot of questions over here from Marion Eunice again. Can we let our children to learn as much so can we allow them to learn multiple languages since young? And which would you recommend best to enroll for our children, kindergarten or Montessori school? Okay. So any suggestions on that? Multiple languages in terms of okay, any comments in terms of
Yeah.
teaching our
Okay, this is
children?
a very good question, and especially special, very concerned in Malaysia because we are multi languages. Okay. Now, I would say when baby time, okay, you expose as much as languages as possible. Okay, as much as possible. Now, the only thing is you don't mix up. Say, for example, I want to go gai gai, or now avoid baby language. Okay, avoid baby language. Okay, and or I want makan at that mama store. Okay, so try to avoid mixing language in one sentence. Okay, it's totally confusing. All right, so try to get the specific person. Let's say I speak English, my husband speak another language. If um, grandpa speak dialect, yeah, the more the merrier. Okay, so expose them as much as possible. Yeah, I myself, I speak English, and then I also speak Mandarin. My husband speak Mandarin, and then she has a godmother, sometimes speak Sabahan. I think go ahead, speak Sabahan. And then in the school, I also my school also teach Bahasa. I also expose her in Bahasa. And then in another play group, speak Mandarin. She learned Mandarin. And then in her school, beside English, she also learned the second language, which is Spanish. So she possesses a few languages, you see. So she understands about five languages or dialects and languages, lah, I would say. Yeah. So it's all right. It's all right. So she can speak Mandarin, English, uh, Bahasa, Cantonese, and Spanish. Yeah. But as they grow older, they start to filter. They do not want to. They will choose their preference. So if the most if you used to speak one language, and then just use that language to speak. Yeah. So if and I also would urge the parents, if you want to send to Chinese school, speak Chinese at home. If you want to send to English school, speak English at home. Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise,
So be professional in the language and communication. I like what you were saying over there just now, which is to speak no baby languages. So in a way, we speak to the baby or the kid in a way how we speak to an adult. Is that what you're saying?
exactly. You just assume that is another adult. Okay. So I will always say, okay, just as you speak to your loved one, okay, as you speak to your friends, your colleague, how the tune that you speak. Yeah. So you have to use the same tune, same way to speak to your baby. Yeah. And I think Marian have also another questions that talking about, whether to send to kindergarten,
Yeah,
preschool, or
Montessori.
Montessori. Okay. Now I would let me give you some little bit of background of all these differences. Okay. Now, if you just merely want your child to go for kindergarten, is for study only, then you go for kindergarten. Okay. But if you want your child to actually play more, then you go to the kindergarten. Some kindergarten also actually play based. Yeah. Then, but if you go to the if you need childcare service, I would strongly recommend you to send to childcare. Don't send to kindergarten. Reason why is because you look at the MCO now. Childcare center allowed to open, but kindergarten are not in May. Why? Because childcare center is mainly focused on providing service for working parents. So where our main focus and main responsibility is taking care of the baby, okay, and the children. But however, kindergarten are not, because they are education. Yeah, but this doesn't mean that childcare didn't give education, because childcare also need to conduct activities. So what activities the children do? The children also do some pre-reading, reading, and then they also do some mathematics skills and all that, in order for them to help them to develop their cognitive. These are all also by the requirement of the JKM. So in another way, yet it depends on your needs, whether you need people just to take care of the first few hours in the morning, or you want people to help you to take care for the whole session. Okay, so that is number one. What is your needs? Okay, then number two, if you have a choice of, oh, I can go to few hours only, that's fine. If just those some of the childcare center also offer some few hours services, so you also can consider that. However, the things, that the activities, I would say, what is the center philosophy? What type of philosophy the center design their curriculum based on what philosophy? If they are only focusing on reading skills, counting skills, and all that, it's all these are just the 3R part. However, in the 21st century right now, what we really need is the activity base that can help the children to hands on, to collaborate, to communicate and to drill their critical thinking. So are the school preparing this type of environment for them? Are they allow the children to hands on to do their work and all that? So that is the things that you need to consider. And then number three, talking about Montessori. Now Montessori is a philosophy. Okay, it's a, not to say philosophy, it's a pedagogy. It's a pedagogy of a set of materials, special designs of those apparatus that can use to guide the children. So it very depends on, what are the things that you want. There are some people say, oh, Montessori school, they are unable the children to catch up the primary, they are too much of play, but actually it is not. I would say if the curriculum are well designed, well developed, and they're able to, you know uh, 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 um, uh, help you to actually bridge the gate, reach the level on, and continue to the primary syllabus, that should be all right. Yeah. And
So
of course, I would
one
strongly recommend project.
Okay, so I guess it's a lot of different aspects as well as the who is teaching them, how's the environment, are the teachers over there in a way living discipline, how do they speak and how do they behave in a way. So there's many different type of aspect when you're looking into enrolling your children to education centers as well, right? So okay, one more question over here. I guess this is a very interesting question as well. So how old do we teach the child to be independent, like feeding themselves, and also tips on toilet training as well. So, question from Jen Lee.
Okay, there are two questions. Okay, all right. So let me quickly talk about self feeding. Yeah, self feeding is you develop them. Okay, give them the exposure, give them the opportunity. Yeah. So as young as 6 months old and above, as long as they're able to sit with support. Okay, so you will sit when the feeding times is should be on the high chair. Okay, on the specific place. Okay, on a specific time, then you put them on the high chair and then feed them. So give them the tools, okay, which is appropriate for them, safe for them. Yeah. So and then the spoon, okay, the texture of the spoon are not too uh, not like those kind of very hard plastic which will hurt themselves, because sometimes they may be, accidentally feed any other part that will hurt their skin, because the baby skin is very very sensitive and soft. So we have to take care of that. So therefore we need to give them the appropriate tool, buy a better quality one. Even in my center, I really buy those high quality spoons, and the supplier say, are you open schools? I say yes. They thought I'm the end user. So because she's very curious, he very curious why I every year come and buy so much of spoons, then only she discovered that I'm the operator. I told her. Then she said, yeah, this is very expensive, very high quality. You buy for your students. I said, yes. This is what the students supposed to have, with this kind of quality. So that's one. Then so I would say as young as 6 months old, you can actually let them to try, okay, but don't expect them to able to fit themselves. So I would say expectation. You put the intention, but you don't set the expectation of, when she going to acquire and all that. Okay, that's one. So I answer your first questions. Then the number second question is what is the second question
Toilet
already?
training. Toilet training. Any tips on that?
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's a good toilet training tips, that don't be too early and don't be too late. So the best time I would suggest is to 2.5 years old. Reason why is because they started to vocal. Okay, and that's number one. Then number two is their muscles development. Okay, because they can hold slightly longer. If they can't hold so long, every time you bring her to toilet, so what are you going to do with the baby, isn't it? So as well, you don't have to put so early to toilet train her. Yeah, so let her be familiarized with the toilet, see how others going toilet, and then slowly remove her diaper, and by telling her that, okay, so now you can go for toilet, and let's sit down, explore and all that. Ever never force the baby to go toilet. Okay, ever never. A lot of time they will they have the constipation problem because they was being forced to go toilet when they are young. Okay, so don't force them. Okay, and also when they are maybe when during the period of time they will still accidentally, we on the floor or something, don't scold your baby. Okay, that is all absolutely all right. Tell them, okay, that's fine, okay, let's try it again, and all that. Yeah, so cooperate with the baby, and then just tell your baby, okay, okay, come on, now it's all right, is you wet it and just clean it up. Okay, let's clean together. So initially you clean and give a cloth to your baby, clean your cloth to your toddler, and then clean together. Okay, then after sometimes slowly you say, okay, it's okay, then now you clean. So that is how you help your children to toilet train. Yeah, don't over, really don't over early. So a lot of parents maybe they want convenient, or what, I'm not sure, but it's sometimes it's too over early. The children actually sometimes is overconfidence or not confident enough. That will affect their confidence level.
So hopefully that shed some light for Jen Lee's question. So curious also from my side, right? So how many children do you deal with in your childcare center on a daily basis?
How many? The ratio is 1 to 4. Well, for the infant uh, up to 12 months old. Yeah. Then after that, as they grow older, the ratio will going to increase 1 to 5, and even up to 3 years old is 1 to 8, and 4 years old is 1 to 10. Yeah. So this is about the ratio. I would
Okay.
say some are doing a very high ratio, but I wouldn't encourage the ratio too high. Yeah.
Right.
Because
I guess the next follow-up question would be that, let's say if some of the kids are not obedient, right, or they don't, they give some tantrum, or they have some emotion issues, right? So how do you normally train your teachers to deal with situations like this? So the always the two methods is that, okay, we try to work together with the baby, or the usual case would be they use fear-based, right, or scolding in a way, getting them to comply. So how could you walk us through the process on how you would encourage your teachers or your parents to work with the children when they are having any form of tantrum or crying in that manner?
Okay. Now, before we go into the managing behavior, we should focus on the prevention. Prevent this to happen. Okay, then prevention is better than managing. All right. So before it happens, we have to examine, okay, is the teaching strategy all right? If the environment okay? If the children emotion all right? If the if the setting okay? Yeah. So all these are we need to examine. Sometimes the children having tantrum is not because of any issue, but sometimes they bring the emotion from home. Yeah, so we have to comfort the children. So before we talk about managing them, we have to do the prevention. And before we even prevent, we have to go for building relationship. That's why bonding is so important. So we have to build a very positive relationship with the children. The children will tend to follow you, will tend to listen to you, because at that age they are pleasing period. Pleasing means they're trying to please people. So if your signal showing you are not happy or you are upset, they will trying to adjust themselves and please you. So before the 3 years old, then most of them they're actually not difficult to handle. Yeah, especially their tantrum. Of course, there are sometimes they really have tantrum whereby they cannot get what they want. So when they cannot get what they want, again we go back to the incident. What is actually happened? Yeah. So let's say the child is having fighting or beat others. In fact, maybe he himself being beat first, right? So he himself being beaten first. So that's why we need to examine the situation before we put the judgment. Yeah. So we have to examine the situation nicely. Then we talk to the child. Yeah. Always start with talking. Okay. Then we start to talk with the child. If the child, of course, that is sometimes they are a bit that they will try your limit. Okay, especially when they are 2.5, 3 years old, they will keep constantly challenge you, try to push your limit, whether where are you, how do you respond. So therefore, an adult, you have to persistently, what is yes, what is no. So you have to persistently set a very, very clear rules that what is can, what is cannot. And this is not just one adult. This needs the cooperation of all the adults in the environment. If you are staying together with your father-in-law, mother-in-law, you better communicate with them. Okay, if she told tantrum during the meal time, my rules is I will take away the meal and she cannot having any meal. Okay, so and this everybody need to follow the rules. Okay, if one person I take away the meal, and then on the other hand the other adult will provide them milk lah, snack lah, you're gonna fail. Okay, so everybody need to be persistently follow the ground rules. So in the school as well, school have the school ground rules. At home also, you must have a set of ground rules at your home, so that you will easy to adjust the behavior, and always work together with the school, understand how the teachers managing it, and then you can also follow the same steps at home as well. Okay, that's I always encourage. So if let's say, of course, I go through the stages. If we, by firstly telling them no, this is not, this is I'm not going to tolerance. I don't allow this. You have to be firm, but with kindness. Okay, but when you firm, you please don't. No, this is not. You cannot do this. They're totally confused. Okay, so even though I say, okay, we need to love your children, but we are not spoiling them. Okay, we need to discipline them. We don't spoil them. Okay, so if there's no means no, you have to be firm. Okay, so you don't tell them, this is not. Your children cannot get your message. Okay, so you have to be very clear cut. No, this is my facial expression and all that. I even educate my girl. When I turned my face, you should know, okay, my level of angriness is getting increased. Yeah, so even though we talk a lot, and then we sometimes, this does not work. Okay, move to the next level. So when move to the next level, okay, then I'm sorry that this is the consequences that you have to bear. Okay, so of course you don't suddenly set up your own consequences. You got to tell them right beginning that what is the consequences. Now say for example, when you go to the shop, when you go to shopping, so you have to, before you go out for shopping, in the house you already must let your child know that, okay, we're going to shopping for what purpose, and when we have meet the purpose, by what time we have to come back, and when mommy say that now is the time to come back, you have to follow. Okay, is that all
Yeah.
right? Are you agree? So
Is
then,
it okay if they are 2 years old, right? Will they
yeah,
really understand on that?
yes, yes, they will understand. That's why don't underestimate them. Okay, if you are all the time being reasonable, talking to your child since baby, I'm sure they're going to understand. Maybe when they are done to about 5 6 months. Okay, some babies early, some babies slower. Okay, so between 5 to 8 months time, they already understand no, the meaning of no. You see, so that time you already able to start to discipline your babies. Yeah, if at the beginning you started right, that's when they grow older, you are very easy to educate and discipline your children. Yeah, and as they grow older, like my daughter right now, I'm not disciplining her anymore. She have to, I cultivate the self-discipline with her already. Yeah, so she have to complete her work, complete her homework by her own. And then by the end of the day, okay, that is, we talk about it, or we share about what is your learning and all that. So we ensure, I wanted her to develop self-independent even in learning, in her studies and all that. That is why I don't have to be with her, but she's still a high scholar in school. Yeah, so all this is actually developed since babies. That's why
Okay.
I say.
So So it's
That's
more of like laying the foundation, allowing them to get used to how things are in the family and setting the rules and such as well. Okay. In a way, right, I'm very curious in terms of how, on the daily aspect in your child center, right? So, for example, if like a professional athlete, like we go back to the badminton, the person playing badminton, right? So every day they will start off with some warm up, stamina training, and things like that. So could you walk us through like every single day as a parent sends their kids to your childcare center, right? What is being done on a daily basis? So from morning all the way to afternoon to towards night, so that every one of us can get an understanding on how you actually train children on a daily aspect.
okay. To answer this question, it is really not easy because different children at different age will have different routines. Okay. Now let me go through by starting with the very young age at the baby. So
Right.
it's, if the baby usually come early, they we either they come in, I'm not talking about the practice right now with the condition of spraying hand this and that, because all these are under SOP. Okay,
Right,
but
right.
usually the
I
basic.
guess let's talk about probably terrible two, right? Two years old, right?
Okay,
2 years old
okay.
kids. So when they can move around, they can give feedback and things like so. So what's the daily routine?
All
Walking
right.
to a daily aspect of your in your childcare center.
Okay, that would be easier. Okay, so let's say talk about the 2 years old. When they early in the morning they come in, usually they will mingle around with their friends, play together. That's normally okay. So that they come together and they're having free play. Okay, so let them have the free choice of work so that they can make decision by themselves. Yeah, so that is how they choose their own choice. They choose their own what they want to do. Okay, then after that we will move on to circle time. So when the circle time, the children will gather together, and then we start with the songs like good morning song or greeting songs, and then some of the theme that we would like to introduce. Then they will start to move on to the lesson. So the lesson is go by theme. So let's say this week we talk about fruit teams, for example, so that the teachers will bring some real fruits, and then we will talk about it, let them touch, feeling the texture and all that. And then after that we will move on to the active. We will have a short break. Okay, then we have a short break. Say for example like a tea time. So early in the morning they will have tea. Then after that we will move on to the activity base. So the activity is like having art and craft, okay, which is related to the theme they have learned just now. And then on the other hand, some of the children will be called, okay, will be being called, and then we will going to read the story individually with them. Yeah. Then after that, they will have another round of activity, like for example, like cutting or the tracing, yeah. And then teacher will call them like doing some uh, phonics introductions. Okay, they're having the sandpaper tracing and all that. Then after that, they will have I think about 11:30. Then they will start to have their lunch. So when they have lunch, they take about half an hour. They're having their lunch. So after their lunch, then they will tidy up, and then they will take their own basket, take out their belongings, all that, and then they bath. After bath, usually they will go for nap. Yeah. So then, if nap time will be around 1 to about 4 o'clock, then after that they will wake up, and after wake up, then they will have another round of storytelling. And then they will have like activity and then recap what is the morning activity that have been taught, and then storytelling and then songs and all that. Then after that, they will about time to waiting for their parents to pick them up. Mm. So that is about 2 years old.
I see. Okay. So a lot of fun, a lot of activities, a lot of playing together with peers as well. Okay. So in a way, for a child, right? So as for a parent that wants to develop a child that has very high ability in communication, very excellent ability in terms of their creativity and interpersonal skills and such, right? Could you share with us some of the things that parents can do right now if they're having a 3-year-old kid and below, right? Some of the things that they can do together with them that would allow them to develop interpersonal skills, creativity, and such. Yeah.
Okay. That is good questions. Yeah. So actually, what you got to do is you don't have to like to me, I wouldn't send like a special enrichment class or what, but I will encourage the parents, be with them, and then allow them to have their own space. Okay, give them some recycle things, let them to build something out of it. Yeah, children can make all sort of things with the materials that they have in hand. So you don't have to buy a lot of expensive luxury, but allow them to actually explore, cut, paste, then even use glue gun, knitting, scissors, whatever, needle also. Yeah, so let them to have this kind of exposure. Yeah, like cooking. Yeah, it's one of a good way for them to learn. Yeah, so cooking also is a very good things for them to learn. Yeah, and planning, for example, like planning for shopping, put down the shopping list. Okay, like ask them to list down what are the things that you're going to buy in the supermarket. Ask them to write it down. Maybe that they are not able to write, but it's okay. Let them to use the symbol. Yeah, symbol or drawing or whatever, as long as they understand what they read, they write, and they can tell you, oh, this is what. Oh yeah, so that is how you can accompany your children to do together. Yeah. If you have toys, I would suggest uh, find open-ended toys. Yeah. Say for example, blocks. Yeah. Colorful blocks or different shapes of blocks or different things for the constructions. Yeah. So don't go for like things. Some Legos are fixed in certain way only. Yeah, I would prefer to go for the constructions things are more open ended, which means you don't have specific ways of fixing it, but you can create it. Yeah. So these are the toys which we call it open ended toys. I think that would be helpful.
Okay. Can you still hear me? I think. Hello. Yeah, can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes, now can.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right.
yes. Sorry.
Just went back and for a while. Okay. One question over here from Aziz Rajab, right? So why do individual children usually need to adapt to the needs of the school rather than the school adapting to to the individual needs of these children? So what's your comment on this? I guess we're talking about children-centered learning. In a way, how do we, as an educator or as a parent, be able to customize education in a such, right, to probably bring out the best in your children? So any take on this?
Yeah. Okay. It is this is the reality world, okay, that we have to fit into many things. Yeah. So um I would say initially, actually the school should help, should adapt. I mean, especially when the baby's first joining in my center, we will not fix the schedule for the babies. We have to follow the baby schedule, because they already have the biological clock in them. So we can't immediately, oh, now is our time to sleep, you don't sleep, we can't do that. So when initially when they comes in, we will have to match what is their need. Say for example, if they comes in sleeping, then we have to continue to put them sleep, and then it's a time for them to feed, then we have to feed them. So we are not fixing the timetable for them in order for them to suit our timetable. No, but then slowly, okay, this as they grow older and that as they observe the environment, they themselves automatically will slowly adjust themselves to fit into the environment. Yeah, because just like us, we when we go to when we are in Malaysia, we can dress up like this, but when we go to certain country which required you to having covered maybe up to the eyes, you have to, right? Yeah, so that is my opinion that if this is the reality, if there's somehow we have to really fit into the environment and fit into the context. Yeah, otherwise they also don't feel the sense of belongs, right? Yeah, I hope I answer
Yeah.
your questions. But of course,
Right.
if
So Aziz, if you have any further questions with regards to this, please fill in the on the feedback form so that maybe you can have more conversation and questions together with Michelle as well. Okay. So
yeah,
so Michelle, I guess
mm,
one more question. Earlier we're discussing about the effect of technology, especially for children 3 years old and below, right? So it has been a hot topic and a hot debate between parents whether if you should allow children to have access to phone, YouTube, Facebook, social media, and all of this uh, technological stimulation for the children, right? So, what's your take on this? And I really like to hear from the perspective of the brain development, right? So, what does it do to the brain of a children if they are exposed to these type of devices for a prolonged period, especially during an early childhood era of theirs?
okay. First of all, I would say the technology is there, okay, and this is the things that it can't avoid. Yeah, and technology actually also helped a lot in many areas. For example, during the MCO period, we all rely on the technology. If without the technology, we are not going. The learning are not taking place. So that is something that we cannot deny on the usage of the technology. Yeah. However, on the other hand, I always say we have to manage. Okay? We have to manage the usage of this technology. Yeah, if it's possible, try to avoid especially when they are young, because the moment they're exposed to, they actually, although you see they are actually like watching and learning something, but are they really learn? Because they don't interact. They just receive information in one way. They are not two-way communication. So if they are not two-way communication, how is their brain functions when they do not have the information for them to process and all that, but they just passively receiving this information in one way. So that is not helping much in their development. Yeah, so I would say there are certain limit on it. Yeah, and of course, if you are talking about just receiving even though it is educational, okay, but if it's just receiving, and she have no chance to talk to interact with others, to respond to others, how in the reality that these people, when they grown up, they can socialize? And that is a lot of problem nowadays, whereby a lot of adults, they just wanted to face the camera. They can talk to the digital world, but they do not able to socialize with their colleagues. They avoid to mix up with people. And there are a lot of people that say, oh, I better find a job that can only talk to the computer. I do not want to talk to anybody. So this is because they are so used to only one way communication, then that is the problem, isn't it? So I would suggest when they are young and they need to receive not just the information on the educational, but they also need to learn how to communicate with others. When they talk to others, when they are too loud, or when they are the choice of words that they chose are rude, then what is the response of others? So these are the things that they need to see face to face. They need to interact people face to face in order for them to understand and to know about how to interact and how to build the relationship and how to build, the build the relationship and build all this trust and all that in the reality world, instead of just having ebook and yeah. And sometimes the book cannot respond to your baby. The books cannot tell, oh, how fun it is, you see. So if the child are passively informed, they do not have time for them to digest this information. So if they just receive without digestion, how are they going to make them into a critical thinking? Because critical thinking people need to compare the information, and then they need to accumulate accommodate or an assimilation, all that they need to have all these kind of things in place in order for them to develop the thinking process. If there are no people tell them that no, I'm not agree with you, no, this is not the way and all that, then how are they going to know that what they receive, they just take it for granted. They just know that, oh, this is right. Whatever information is just correct. But in reality, whatever information in the internet, is 100% correct? We need to help them to use the information to digest the information and to analyze all this data, and what is helpful and what is not, and what can make the life better, and what can contribute the world even better, and how to solve the real world problems. So we need the interaction, we need people to coming, to we need the people to discuss together. So if just a passive information, it doesn't really help the children brains to develop. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Right. So I guess also some adults that actually speak to, they were mentioning to me, okay, I used to play things like TED Talk or a video of Tony Robbins, play it for them. Hopefully that they're able to absorb something like this. And also one very interesting topic was that we were discussing about early childhood. Is it good to expose them to music in terms of like classical music, pop music, and things like that? How would it affect children if we were to expose them to mediums like this? Any thoughts on that?
Yes. I would recommend to expose them when during your pregnancy time. Yeah. So when my time when I was pregnant, I will listen to the soft music. And babies actually in when they're in your womb, about 5 months they start to develop their hearing. So all these music they can hear. Yeah. And if the music because different types of music will have different emotions. Now, scientific has already proven actually music is play a very important role on our emotion. If you see the movie horror movie without the music, you wouldn't be feeling so scary, isn't it? But if with all the sound effect and all that, it totally affect your reaction response and all that. So this is actually show that the music play an important role on your emotion. So when you pregnant or after the children deliver, put on the soft music. Yeah, the reason why is because the music different composer have different background. Yeah, Yeah, so the different they have different characteristics, and when they compose, they put the emotions there. So some of the composer like Mozart, and all that, they put the music are more sentimental, are more soft. So the babies when they listen, they feel very gentle and very calm. But on the other hand, some of the composer, they a lot of a lot of hard music and very heavy beat kind of things. That those composers, you have to when you study their background, that these composers maybe in the time zone war, yeah, and then they wanted to put all this emotion and anger and their emotions into the music piece, and then they played it, you see. So I will not say that it's not good, but don't expose too early when the babies are still young. Okay, let them develop in a in a soft and gentle kind of music first. Yeah. Then when as they grow older, they can accept more songs, more varieties of songs. Then that time you can introduce. Yeah. So that is the music that playing an important role actually. Yeah. And even when the babies are emotional, are crying or whatever, you can actually sing to them. You sing those soft music. Yeah. So with your warm and soft tone, then you can actually sing to the baby, and that can actually help the baby to calm down easier as well.
So I guess one more question, especially from our side, right? We speak about education for students during primary, secondary school, for early childhood education as well, right? As a parent, right? How do we really chisel, or if I may say, how do we develop or cultivate their natural ability? So there's two form of questions over here. Number one, as a parent, innate ability for children or child, right? For example, if they are very musically talented, for example, or if they are very linguistic talented, right? In that way, right? Should we really observe it during that 3 year period, and provide them with a type of practice or the type of discipline in place, right? So that they are able to develop their skills from there. Any thoughts on how do we observe and get all this type of innate ability or the natural ability of the children? Yeah, any thoughts on that?
Mm. Actually, you can as you observe the child development, you can able to compare, because the stages of development are stated. Okay, by how many months you roughly your child can achieve this and that. So usually you will notice that your child in certain area could be earlier than what the benchmark have been stated. Of course, there are some children are earlier, some children will be slower. So you can actually check on the milestone. Yeah, so you check on all these milestone, then actually you will know. I would say don't specifically restrict them on certain area, or just train them in a certain in a particular area. So children should have all rounded of learning. Yeah, because it will be have some issues if, let's say, the child certain area is extremely above above on their age, and very far gap, that could be actually a problem as well. Yeah. So we will say that is a gifted lah. Yeah. So if let's say that is gifted, even though by young, since young, you can actually notice, you will notice it. Yeah.
So as a parent, definitely observe your child and pay close attention to how they respond to stimulus, and how they behave as on a normal daily basis, right? Okay. So in a way, we have reached close to the end of the session. So any final conclusion for parents or teachers out there that may be working together with early childhood, or kids that are below 3 years old, and also any form of suggestions for them on how they can be a better parent or a better teacher during this period of time?
Okay. Yeah. I will urge all the parents and the teachers work hand in hand together, because this children, these babies are vulnerable. They depend, rely on us a lot. So understand them, and find out their needs and meet their needs. Okay, we are playing a very important role, because a lot of things that impact in their life and could be damage them if we don't do it ethically and professionally. So always learn, continuously to learn, and to pick up the skills and knowledge, and communicate. Always communicate with each other, whether with as a parents, both parents communicate with each other, with the family members, and with the schools. Don't hide anything. Be transparent. Be inform the parents well. Okay, then the teachers, anything wrong doesn't matter. Don't cover. Let the parents know. Okay, and explain to the parents nicely, and the parents please accept, and also be understanding with your with the teachers. Yeah, so we actually wanted to work hand in hand together with the parents. We wanted the best for the children. So the best is to work together hand in hand. We don't have to fight with each other. Okay, so at the end, the only victim is the child. So we have to put this in mind. We want to work together, and we want to build a positive, strong relationship, so that the children there themselves feel secure, being loved, and with everyone that around the child. So I think that is very important. We have to be very knowledgeable and understand how to raise a child properly, with all the everyone comes together and raise them well. Yeah.
Okay,
Final words
so
is
yeah, so there
final.
you go for Michelle, and also Michelle, if there are any parents or teachers out there that wants to find out more information with regards to this, right? Do you have any form of resources or where they can really refer to all this form of knowledge for early childhood education?
I think there are a lot of websites whereby they did some babies child development or baby research development. So you can you can actually have the good resources on that, like Australian website, UK. Yeah, so these are a lot of very useful resources as well. And of course, I am also writing a parenting book, especially for this early years, so up to the 6 years old. So I'm also writing that. So hopefully by September or October, I can get it published.
All
Mm.
right, so we look forward to your book, and also we got to cut it short. So it's been 2 hours over from here. So if you have any questions for Michelle, right, please do comment down below, and also on the feedback form that is under the comment section. Then we can address any questions to Michelle, and probably we can email you any of the question as well. So Michelle, so by the way, for everyone up there, Michelle is running a childcare center called Pinktower. So any form of questions or any form of resources with regards to your childcare center, where can they look for, a, uh, or where can they find you, or any resources that they can
Oh,
find you?
okay. You can come to our Facebook page. We
Mhm,
have a Pink Tower Childcare Center Facebook page, and
mhm.
right now we are revamping our website. So haven't fully published yet. So it's a final stage. So soon we will launch our website as well. But meanwhile, you can actually connect with us in Pink Tower Childcare Center. So we were quite responsive on your personal messages as well. Yeah, so you can email to me, and if you want to email to me personally, you can email to michelle.h at pinktowerchildcarecenter.com. Yeah. Let me maybe I put michelle.h.
Okay, is that the one over there? This, yeah? Michelle.h at pinktowerchildcarecenter.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
So once again, thank you so much, Michelle, for today's session. So I learned a lot with regards to the entire early childhood education, but understandably, it's you have spent 15 years on this entire industry, right? So for us, probably it's just like a glimpse of what as a parent or a teacher should actually understand from the entire whole big picture. So never stop
Yeah.
learning as well, especially from especially in dealing with children from here. So for those of you out there, if you have enjoyed Michelle and also enjoy on her session, please give her a like and a comment so that we will be able to invite her for more sessions to come. Probably we can discuss more in terms of the techniques and how a teacher and parent can work with children from a early childhood education perspective, right? So thank you once again, Michelle. So we hope to have you more often on the Education Summit, EduChat series, as well as the follow-up summits to come, right? So thank you so much again, Michelle. Yeah, so we hope to see you soon. Right.
Thank you for having me again. Thank
Right,
you.
so
Good
is your daughter going
night.
to say bye to us as well?
Yeah, okay. Rachi, would you like to come and say goodbye to Uncle and everyone? Would you like to come? No. Oh, okay. She's not. She doesn't want. Just now she
Okay.
keep coming here and then she wanted actually. I
Right, right.
know. She's
Okay.
reading. Yeah. Mhm.
All right. So with
Okay.
that, thank you so much, Michelle. So see you soon in the future. All right.
Okay. See you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. All right, so there you go. There was Michelle Hiong from Pinktower Childcare Education Center. So if you'd like to know more about her, please do email on the comments down below with her email address, and hopefully we can have much more of a conversation together with you as well. So all of you, thank you so much for staying through with the entire 2 hour. I hope you have gotten some form of value and also some insight in terms of how do you work with your child if they are, especially when they are below 3 years old, right? So a lot of insights and a lot of learning as well that me myself, I am actually surprised at some of the things that I'm not even aware of as well. All right, so coming forth, right, for the education summit EduChat series, right, this coming Saturday we will be having another EduChat series as well. So we will be speaking to Cikgu Nazmi. Cikgu Nazmi has been also featured during the Education Summit 2020 during the last 2 weeks, right, during that time. And he will be talking with us more in terms of 21st century childhood education, 21st century student education. So in a way, he'll be sharing with us all of his stories, going through the entire lips and boundary of how a teacher should bring in education from a very different aspect. So definitely don't miss out on his session this coming Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m., where we will be joined by Cikgu Muhammad Nazmi. He is actually an award-winning teacher as well, whereby if you were to check out on his YouTube channel, on his Facebook, he has been implementing a lot of very interesting education workshops, as well as very interesting education approach. So be sure to like also to also like our Malaysia Education Summit page so that you don't miss out on any form of contents that will be coming up to you very soon. So a lot are in place. So definitely stay tuned on our channel as well as on our YouTube channel. All right. So with that, I would just like to wish all of you a very good night. Thank you so much for staying together with us until this hour. And we hope to see you on this coming Saturday at 10:30 a.m. We'll see you soon.